Hello, I think everyone has come in. Welcome to Earth Day 365's virtual program for February. Today we have Erica Williams from A Red Circle joining us. My name is Elizabeth Sabetta, and I'm the Assistant Program Manager for Earth Day 365. We are streaming live to Facebook, so I'm going to have everyone start with their camera off and muted. And then if you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat and we can get to them after presentation. If you're unfamiliar with Zoom, the chat button is down at the bottom if you move your mouse a little bit. So I want to give a big shout out now to our sponsors for this event, the St. Louis Jefferson County Solid Waste Management District and Missouri Department of Natural Resources. So as I said, today we have Erica Williams with A Red Circle, and she's going to be presenting Good Food Movement, Improving Our Food System from Within. Erica holds a BA in Paralegal Studies and an MBA, both from Maryville University. She's working on her PhD in Public Policy and Administration from Walden University with a concentration on policy analysis. She's a St. Louis Master Gardener, chairs MOCAN, Missouri Council on Activity Nutrition, and is a member of their Food Systems Working Group. She led a peer circle for executive directors of color for Winrock International's Food Systems Leadership Network. Erica sits on the Youth Education and Development Committee of Kids Win Missouri and participates in HomeGrown StL. She's also a member of 9 Network Community Advisory Board and was the recipient of a Focus St. Louis Award, My Name is Need, an Impact Award, and an award from the Coalition for Human Rights. When not working for Red Circle, Erica is on the board of directors for Kids Win Missouri and the Community Advisory Board for Refuge and Restoration nonprofit organization in Ferguson, Missouri. Wow. Thank you so much for being here, Erica. You don't do anything at all, sounds like. We really appreciate you being here, and I will let you take it over from here. Also, I was just kidding. You do so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Facebook world and Zoom folks. Thank you for having me, Earth Day 365. This is very exciting because A Red Circle is actually launching into its 4th year this year, and I feel like we're like a high school senior. So, as a freshman, you go into high school not really knowing what's happening, but you're going to be in the high school. And then your sophomore and junior year, you're figuring stuff out. By senior year, you're ready to graduate into the big stuff, college and careers and things. And so that's how I feel like we are at A Red Circle. So I will just jump right in and she mentioned if you want to just put questions in the chat, in the Zoom chat and in the Facebook chat, we will try to get to as many of them as we can afterwards. So a little bit about me. She gave the intro already. I forgot to mention to the group for my bio, I recently joined the board of Propel Kitchens. That's going to be opening up in Pagedale around the corner from A Red Circle's offices. And I was the recipient of a North County Inc. Award for diversity and inclusion work. So very exciting stuff. I'm also a wife and mother of 5 awesome children. So A Red Circle, this is where we're located in the St. Louis Business Partnership Building in Wellston. That's my office right there. And it was founded in 2017 by me to serve the community of North St. Louis County. And what that region is, that is the region kind of like right when St. Louis County starts on the edge of Goodfellow, going up towards Florissant and Hazelwood area. So that's where North County is. A Red Circle's mission statement is the holistic betterment of our community, reversing the effects of racism one person and cause at a time. I'll pause real quick to deviate from the slides because yesterday I presented to a class from the University of Oklahoma. And apparently I didn't convey that A Red Circle was my growing nonprofit organization. The class kept asking, was it national? Where can they find the Red Circle networks in their communities? And I was just like, oh, no, it's just right here. right here and right in North County is where we work. But that's not saying that anyone can't duplicate our model and, transfer to wherever they are working if they want to be agents of change and community betterment. A Red Circle's focused areas are employment, education, holistic living, policy, and the arts. And all of that is intertwined within the zip codes of North St. Louis County, where we focus, and in the work that we do, namely in food justice and education justice. So a little bit about my racial equity journey. So even though, as you can see, I am a Black woman and my husband is a Black man and our children are Black and family and friends are Black, we were never actually paying attention to the systems through a racial equity lens. It did not dawn on us that we were a part of systemic racism because from our vantage point, we had our stuff together. But it wasn't until Michael Brown Jr. was killed in Ferguson in 2014, and we live in Florissant, so Florissant is right next door to Ferguson. And so, we decided to go protest with the folks in the community and stand side to side, arm to arm with them, and really get to know the people in the neighborhood. We live in Florissant. I work in Clayton. My husband works downtown. And so being in the community was one thing, but we weren't exactly ingrained in the community and in the issues that the community was facing. We didn't realize living in Florissant, where there are grocery stores and restaurants and things, and working in Clayton and downtown, where there are restaurants and grocery stores and, things that can allow people to thrive, that there was such a void within some of the smaller neighborhoods of North County. And, some of my research and school and learning, terms like redlining and restrictive deed covenants, and learning about the Shelley versus Kramer house in St. Louis and all the cases from the early 1900s to like the early 60s or 70s, where the U.S. Supreme Court had to keep deciding about real estate in St. Louis. Like, people just kept not wanting to do right. And so the Supreme Court had to keep intervening until finally redlining became unofficially illegal. It still happens. We know that it still happens. But reading this book was really helpful. If you, have not checked out this book, it's all about St. Louis. Colin Gordon, he's awesome. I got to sit on a radio panel with him and David Dwight from Forward Through Ferguson in 2019. That was really cool. But yeah, it was like, okay, wow, I'm using my skills and education and talent at my law firm, where while my community is falling apart, that did not sit well with me. And so I decided to make a change in career and, move from working as a paralegal to studying public policy to then forming my own nonprofit organization. So that's where we are today. And I'm very blessed to be able to make this, my actual job. So let's talk a little bit about St. Louis City and St. Louis County and why they are different, how they're different. Well, there are different taxing and school districts. Most of know, St. Louis City has the St. Louis Public Schools, and St. Louis County has 88 separate municipalities, meaning, small little cities that have their own mayors and trustees and police departments and school districts and all of that. So it creates a very fragmented region. And so what ends up happening is, even though St. Louis County is one big governmental entity, it has divided itself directionally, locally. So you have North County, you have South County, you have West County, Mid County, but these are not like actual real places. There's no North County mayor, county executive, it's all St. Louis County. And so when people are looking to invest in, neighborhood betterment and programs to help youth, racial equity, they usually turn to St. Louis City, because if you're looking at the research, at the data, St. Louis City has more of a need than St. Louis County. On the flip side, when St. Louis County gets economic development dollars to build up a region, whether it's from federal dollars or from grant dollars, from other investments, pretty much ignores North County. And so what happens is North County gets, caught in the crosshairs of low philanthropic dollars and low economic development dollars. And so one of the things that I was looking at when I was doing my research on what was happening in the region, what programs were out there, there wasn't much that was geared towards North County specifically. And so since I live in North County, my family's in North County, and I grew up here knowing what North County could be, I decided to form a nonprofit organization that focuses specifically on North County. And the North County region is the predominantly African-American region of St. Louis County. So food systems in the racial or urban context, because food justice is racial justice. And, racial justice right now is kind of front and center from different things that have happened over the past year plus, with the police violence and with COVID-19 and the, just disproportionate number of deaths within Black communities that have, gotten COVID-19. So racial justice is front and center, but what often gets left out of the conversation is food justice and how that impacts racial equity. So if you guys are from St. Louis, you're probably familiar with the Delmar Divide. I had to explain this to the team yesterday because they were in Oklahoma and Texas and Tennessee. And, they were just fascinated by how different the streets look from this intersection of Delmar and Kings Highway, going this way south towards the hospitals and going this way north. And the home values and the people and the opportunities and just one little street. So you flip that over to food deserts. Delmar is somewhere. This is like the city. This is North County. All of these areas that are shaded in are what's called a food desert as defined by the USDA. Some have referred to it as a food swamp. And it's, a place where it's very low nutritional food in the region. Non-nutritive is the word that I've learned recently. And so, food segregation is real and it really impacts a region. It impacts a region's health of the people and its economic health. Good food brings jobs and good food brings entertainment. And if a region is a food desert, it's probably something else of a desert. Jobs and opportunities and entertainment, high quality education. Those are the things that are missing when something so basic as good food is lost. Some people do not like the term food desert because it did not occur naturally. People made the conscious choice to disinvest the region from the healthy food. You can also look at the impact of healthy food and education. These two charts displaying English and math scores. This was from 2018 when we did this study. Not really study, we did some research. And this line is like for test scores where, like the test scores for English are and the test scores for math. This is like the median. So the higher performing school districts are here and the lower performing school districts are here. And then this part down here is about school funding and, how funding impacts test scores and things of that nature. Of course, there's other things that are involved in test scores like neighborhood composition, parental involvement. But just, from these two charts, you can see all 5 school districts that are located within North County fall below the median. And this is just English and math, your 2 basic skills that are needed to really understand and comprehend other higher learning like science and, civics and all of those types of things. And so healthy food really impacts education also. And so we're seeing these challenges in North St. Louis County. So I found this picture from the internet, but this could be any street in North County. We have a plethora of fast foods and stores and liquor stores and dollar stores and gas stations, places that, do not sell good, healthy, fresh produce. If they do have produce there, it's really expensive and it's probably not the best quality. And so, when you're looking at a region, it's so easy to invest in these types of places like payday loan stores and other fast food. But for some reason, getting, entrepreneurs and banks and business people to invest in healthy food and fresh produce and in Black communities is a challenge when it should not be. So this is North County. These are the North County zip codes, 63120. I know this one also goes into the city, but we work only in the county part of that zip code. Down all the way up to Hazelwood, 63042. So this is Ferguson, Florissant, Normandy, Riverview Gardens, Jennings School District, Hazelwood School District. Is kind of like all over the place. And this is the population of just North St. Louis County, 250 plus people. And then on the flip side, what are the food establishments in North County? Where are the grocery stores located? The places that sell fresh produce and whole grain breads and quality meats. Well, we have 24 grocery stores total in North St. Louis County. These are where they are located. So we have 6 in the Florissant area, 6 more, and so like 12 in the Florissant area. 6 in the 63136, 3 in the Ferguson area, 2 in this zip code, and 1 in this zip code. So go back to the map. You can see where these zip codes are, where people are located. So you have all these people, and they're basically sharing 24 zip codes. And so when people don't have grocery stores in their zip code, their tax base, their neighborhood revenue is missing out because they have to drive into other neighborhoods to shop and spend their tax dollars in other neighborhoods. And for these full service zip codes, for these full service grocery stores, one is a Dearborg's, the rest are Schnucks. And so, Schnucks is getting the brunt share of our dollars in North County. And this is, specialty. And there's like ice cream stores, donut shops. You can see we have a ton of fast food and ton of convenience stores and little bitty grocery stores. That's not, that's not fair. It's not just. It's not equitable. So these are some headlines that we pulled from, different stories that we found on the internet about dollar stores replacing grocery stores in low-income Black communities at an alarming rate. And again, dollar stores are these convenience stores where you'll find a lot of frozen food, you'll find a lot of shelf staple food, you'll find some dinners that are shelf staple. Think about the fact that if your dinner can just sit on the shelf, you can just take it home and pop some water in it, and that's not real food. Food scarcity is on the rise in America. Food scarcity is a big deal in North County. One thing that when COVID-19 shut down the schools last year, the first thing we had to think about is how is the neighborhood going to feed the kids? Because oftentimes lunch and breakfast are the meals that kids get at school. And if they don't get those meals, they don't eat. So it wasn't about, how to make sure kids are still being educated. They're not falling through any cracks in terms of academic achievement, but it was how the kids going to be fed. And at one point, one district had to stop their feeding program briefly because some of the staff members were getting COVID-19. This one is how the rise of supermarkets left out Black America. Again, it goes back to that slide that I showed that has all these fast foods and payday loan stores, but why it's so hard to get a supermarket in our region. So when Shop and Save closed in 2018, Schnucks took over some of the buildings, but not all of them. It left 3 of the buildings empty in North County. And one of the buildings that it left empty was a very profitable store. The mayor of that neighborhood, told us that it was one of the, most profitable stores of Shop and Save. So she didn't understand why Schnucks didn't take that over. So it really left that, that neighborhood in a, food desert situation. This one talks about Black communities face wider food shortfalls as COVID saps jobs. We know that food brings jobs. Good food brings good jobs. And pardon me, when the shop and saves closed, that put a lot of people out of work. That also took a lot of sales tax revenue from those neighborhoods. People who were shopping in Shop and Save, who were paying sales taxes, and all of the workers from those stores, they were able to go out into the neighborhoods and shop and spend money and keep money circulating in the community. So when, those stores closed, when those jobs left, that took a lot of money out of those neighborhoods. And I mentioned this earlier, how COVID-19, really exacerbated racial inequality. It kind of like shone a light on things that we knew already. So what is a Red Circle doing to combat some of these issues and challenges that we face in our community? Got some pictures here of our urban farm in Pine Lawn, and these are some food packs that we created last year. We couldn't do a lot of community outreach, because of the pandemic, but we were able to leave produce packs with people, with the city hall, with the clinic, with these cool flyers on them. I say cool, I didn't design them, my volunteer intern did. And then this is at our healthy community market from 2019. There's Mayor Ella and my mommy. So this is the North County Agricultural Education Center in Pine Lawn, Missouri. Jessica got a chance to visit it. This is some green onions that we pulled from there. We were having a lot of fun the day that the ladies from the previous slide visited, because Leah, she's an awesome urban farmer. She was like, pull one off and taste it. And I was like, oh, okay, really? Okay. The flavor, like straight from the garden, from the ground. We didn't have water there, so we really couldn't rinse it off, but just tasting that green onion, it was like, wow, I really want to take some more of these. This is some produce from another urban farm. I made some super good stir fry with this. It was so good. And I decided one day I'm going to write a blog about not being afraid of the purple cabbage, because good food has color. It has, it's vibrant. It has flavor, and it makes people just feel good when they eat it. They feel the nutrients in their body. They can feel themselves getting better from, colds and illnesses and things. And, one thing that, shone the light with COVID-19 is it got us really sick. It didn't just get us like sick, you stay home for a little bit, but no, it took us to the hospital. It caused a lot of Black people to die. And a lot of that can be traced back to what was put into our bodies. Since we have a lot more of those convenience stores and low quality grocery stores, we're not getting these wonderful, yummy, fresh from the garden foods with no chemicals and things, organic produce. And so that's some things that we're trying to bring into the region. We do cooking demos, and we do, blogs and things of that nature. So we have the North County Agricultural Education Center in Pine Lawn that I mentioned, Healthy Flavor Community Garden. So we'll be growing food at that space to do some. This year we'll be doing meal kits that we'll be passing out with recipe instructions and tips on cooking with fresh produce. Oftentimes, people who I meet, they are used to canned goods and frozen produce, but not necessarily fresh produce. So we'll provide some tips on cooking with fresh produce. And we'll be doing some Facebook Live cooking demos. Jessica Carter is going to be leading those. So super exciting stuff. This is the Healthy Community Market. This was me in 2019, again, making my stir fry. I love cooking and feeding the community. I love putting a smile on people's face when it comes to eating good and eating healthy. This is located at Zion Travelers Missionary Baptist Church. As one of our partners. And, they work in tandem with us. They have a food pantry there that operates on the last Saturday of the month. And so this year on the last Saturday, we and the members of the Good Food Movement, who I introduced to you a little bit later, will be there with the fresh produce from our garden. We'll be there with some cooking tips. We'll be there with some music and just some opportunities to still feel community, to still feel connected, even though we're in this social distance space. I mentioned the Shop and Save earlier. This is one of the empty buildings, big, super big building still there. And, there's so much potential, whether someone takes over this entire building or even a part of it to do a grocery store. Former State Rep Tommy Pearson Jr. introduced an amendment in 2019 to allow corporations to write off part of their corporate state income tax if they open a grocery store in a region deemed a food desert by the USDA and abandoned grocery store building. And so that is still, in progress. No, that was 2020. He introduced that in 2020, and then the session got cut short because of COVID. And with the current climate in Jeff City, they're not thinking about tax incentives for getting fresh food into communities, but they should. They really should be. And that's some food policy work that we were able to support last year. So what are a Red Circle's long-term goals? What do we want to do? What do we want to see within North County? We want to create jobs. Good food brings good jobs. Youth, young adults, people in the region, they have skills, they have talents. They need to be working and contributing to society, working these good jobs. We want to inspire healthier living. Good food can also bring other good things like walkways and things of that nature. Good food creates a good community. It creates, a bond between people. How many of you have been to like places where there are like districts, art districts and music districts? Pardon me. This can become a North County good food district, good food circle. Keep that name in your mind. But we also want to improve the physical health of our residents. Good food helps people, thrive. It helps with joint pain and inflammation and all types of other issues that are involved in health if you're getting good food into your body. Good food helps to improve the economic health of the region. And like I said, it provides jobs, it brings sales taxes. And we want to inspire other similarly situated communities. That's always a tongue twister for me because I have a stutter. But, if other communities, predominantly Black communities, Indigenous communities, other, low income groups are looking to see what can they do to improve their community. What is it that they have? If it's not good food, what is it? How can we inspire someone else? So these are the components of a food system. This is what we're looking to improve in the good food movement. We don't want to just grow food and then what happens with it? We want to grow food. We want to process food. We want to be able to have people. There's a member of the good food movement who's making salsa now. And, he'll be growing the tomatoes and the onions and the garlic and the peppers to create salsa that he can sell. So we want to have spaces where people can process that. And then we need to move the food, from the garden, from the processing into the stores, into the restaurants, into the people who need it. This isn't just we want to do something nice for the community. No, we need to be getting paid for this work. And we need to be able to sustain our families and our livelihood doing the work that's needed for our communities. Market the food. We want to be able to talk to the community about eating good food and don't be afraid of the purple cabbage. And I know you probably are only used to canned and frozen food, but let's try this pepper and see, how that tickles your fancy. And getting the food into the store so that people can purchase it. Bringing the stores back to our communities, whether it's someone who wants to invest in our community or it's from someone in our community who needs funding to invest themselves. Oftentimes people are like, why can't we attract a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's or what's the other one, Fresh Time? Like, why are we so worried about what they're doing? Why don't we look and see how we can invest in people who are already here, who have the skills and talent and need the investment? Prepare and consumption. We have chefs in the good food movement. And, good food, like I said, it has color, it has vibrancy. When you see a good plate of food, it makes you happy. It makes you want to dig in. And finally, the environment. Good food is good for the environment. That's how Jessica and I met, talking about the environment and talking about water and soil and good air and, helping to really improve our ecosystem through good food. So what's some of our other work that we're going to be introducing this year? Pardon me. This year, we're launching a Food and Justice Fellowship. I'm so excited about this. I interviewed some of the fellows yesterday. One young man, he was a landscaper, and then he also taught Shakespeare. Like, okay, that's so cool, so fun. Can't wait to work with you some more. One student, she is a food chemist major at Mizzou. So she's studying all about, the chemical elements that make up food and how to use those to create healthier food you know, from the food that's grown with the lab and things of that nature. And then one student, she got to tour the DC Central Kitchen when she was in high school on a mission trip. And she got to learn about food scarcity and food deserts, and how you can prepare good food and food waste and all these pardon me, all these really cool things. And so really, really fun. I'm looking forward to working with them. It's a paid internship, fellowship rather. It's going to be small this year because of COVID-19, but we're really hoping to grow it next year to have more fellows, because oftentimes young people don't know about this work. They're not introduced to how they can actually get jobs in the food industry, not just working in fast food, but food policy and entrepreneurship, growing food in STEM and the STEM behind growing food, soil health and plant health, and the different ways to grow food, aquaponics and hydroponics, and all of that awesome, cool stuff. And then the next one is Art in the Garden. Jessica Johnson, she'll be leading this cohort. So we'll be doing some things in the Urban Farm, the North County Agricultural Education Center, and the Healthy Flavor Community Garden, planting flowers, painting rocks, singing songs in the garden, just so that we can, create that sense of community to beautify North County while we're growing good, healthy food. Because when kids see that someone has taken the time to make something beautiful for them, it changes their mindset on how they think and see themselves and things that they want to do for themselves. So who is in the Good Food Movement? It's a collective of Black and Indigenous urban farmers and growers, chefs, policy leaders, anyone who has a stake in good food in North County. This is me and Sandy. I think Sandy's on at the Healthy Flavor Community Garden. She's one of the leaders of the Native Women's Care Circle. So she came to help us build this out. Every time I look at this picture, though, I think about the snow and the serious cold snap that we just had. And I'm really concerned that my little plants that were starting to grow are now frozen, but I'll check it out when the snow melts, see, what can be still salvaged, or if we just got to start over. We talk about gardening and farming and growing food, and, we can do it the best we can, but Mother Nature is still going to do her thing. So that's all we can do. And you see on the little sign, my supporters, Gateway Greening and Regional Business Council. But yeah, this is just fun. So this is at Zion Travelers Missionary Baptist Church, one of such an awesome, awesome partner. I love working with them. So these are the members of the Good Food Movement, Get Fit and Food Connection. And if you haven't, heard about some of these groups, definitely get on the Google and the Facebook and learn about them. Heru Urban Farming, Rustic Roots Sanctuary, Ujima. He's the one that's doing the salsa. United People, Audrey and Steve Hollis. Awesome. Leah, that's who you saw in the picture earlier. Solidarity Economy, and that's Chef Rusan. So, and there's always room for more. There's always room for more. If you care about what happens in North St. Louis County and with the people, and you want to see this good food movement grow, you are more than welcome to, join in some capacity. So the $1 million question, how can you help? How can you get involved? Well, you can visit our website and you can sign up for our newsletter right here. This is what it looks like, not right here. You can go to the volunteer tab and sign up to volunteer. This will get you a quarterly newsletter, so you'll learn about everything that's happening at a Red Circle from all of our focus areas. And then the volunteer newsletter is monthly. You'll learn about what's happening and when and where and how you can show up and sign up and how you can share with others who might want to volunteer. You can educate yourself and your community members about systemic racism in North County and around the country, but since we're talking about North County, you can, look and see the impact that disinvestment and racism has really had on North County's businesses, school districts, home values, tax base. I mean, systemic racism is in all of that. And as you can see, you can see the motion I'm making is a circle, but all blood is red. All blood is red. We all bleed red, hence the name A Red Circle. You can donate to A Red Circle and to some of the other organizations in the good food movement doing good work. And you can diversify your feed. If you're following people who are similarly minded than you, then you're not really expanding your mindset, learning about other people and other places and other worldviews. So that's just some ways that you can help out. We're also looking to grow our board. It's not in this slide, but we're looking to grow our board. So if you're interested in something like that, you can email me directly at Erica, Williams@aredcircle.org. That's Erica.Williams@aredcircle.org. So I love this quote. This is from a microbiologist, and I can't think of her name. I was watching one of her webinars, and she said that a well-nourished body and brain, so important to think about, the impact. We often think about food in terms of our bodies and weight and things, but it also impacts our brain. It impacts our mood. It impacts our ability to reason and to comprehend and to be a little bit less violent with one another. Body and brain are able to withstand ongoing stress because, face it, being Black in this region right now is stressful, and recover from illness. And this little girl, we just found her off the internet, but she's eating a peach, which is healthy. So we use her on our publications. So here is my contact info. This is the general mailbox. I'll get these and other folks will get these, so that way they're being seen. So our website, A Red Circle, where we're located in the business incubator. And this is how to reach us by phone. So now I will turn it over to the folks. For questions.
Wow, thank you so much, Erica. That was very exciting and informative to hear about. It sounds like Joyce Gorell had a couple questions. She said this information and work is wonderful, and she grew up in 63136, by the way. She asked, are you providing education on how to compost food waste like produce scraps and compost education on how healthy it is for soil?
Absolutely, absolutely. That'll be one of the things that we'll be talking about at the North County Agricultural Education Center. That'll be in our Growing Food and STEM section. So the fellowship is going to run for 9 months, and it's going to be divided into 3 topics, and so each topic will get 3 months. We have compost bins at our farm and at our garden, and yeah, we'll be talking to as much as we can to people right now in this, virtual world. But yeah, we'll definitely be talking about composting. We are big composters, saving all of our eggshells and coffee grinds and food scraps and all that cool stuff. Thank you, Joyce.
Great. Looks like
put a heart up.
A little heart for Joyce, from Joyce. She said, just curious if your team works with / are familiar with the Seeds of Hope Farm and outreach in Spanish Lake, Missouri.
Absolutely.
She's familiar with them via having sponsored their CSA program, which helps subsidize CSAs for families in need.
Yep. Yeah, the Seeds of Hope farm, they grew green tomatoes in 2019 as a pilot program. And so we were at the Healthy Community Market, we sold the tomatoes. So we were able to do some cooking demos with the tomatoes and give them away. Well, not give them away. We sell produce when we can, because it creates more of a buy-in into actually, cooking it and eating it versus giving it away. This year we'll be giving it away because we can't really get in front of people to do the transaction stuff. But yes, Farmer Jake is awesome.
Great. Any other questions from folks? Feel free to put them in the chat. Looks like Jess.
Erica, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about this fantastic food justice fellowship that you're putting together. Like, how many people are going to be involved? And you said that you have 3 different tracks for 3 months each. Is everybody going to get to do all 3 of those, or are they going to specialize? I just love the idea, and I'd love to know more.
Yeah, so this year we'll have 4 people, so that way we can still meet in person on the day that we meet and still be able to social distance. I think right now it's going to be 2 guys and 2 girls, but the first 3 months will be equity and justice. And then the next 3 months will be growing food and STEM. And then the last 3 months will be business and entrepreneurship. And so throughout the fellowship, all 4 fellows will be, involved in all 4 sections. The plan when I first wrote this up last year in July was that we would not still be in this COVID-19 space in 2021. And so it was going to be 9 fellows and they would rotate through the different cohorts. However, since we're still in this virtual space with the need for masks and all that, we're going to have 4 people and they're just going to just be with us the whole time, all 9 months. Yeah, 9 months. It's paid up to $1,800 if you attend all the stuff and read the books. So we'll be reading books throughout the fellowship. We're reading Citizen Brown this first time, also by Colin Gordon, again, because he's awesome. The second book is Farming While Black by Leah Penniman. And then the third book is Networking It's Your Superpower by a local author, Keisha Kent. She's also awesome. So super exciting stuff. We'll be working on, doing some networking and resume writing so they can hone in on their skills. We'll be looking at some policy and to see if there's any type of policy that we can help advance with other groups. And if, there's something at the end of the fellowship, if they want to keep working on those policy issues, they can. But yeah, it's going to be cool. The ages for the crew, they're 19 to 26. So they're young, but they're not like kids. So they can actually do stuff.
Sounds amazing.
Thank you.
We have a Facebook comment. There are Aldi's and Save-A-Lots aren't there, which I'm assuming is in reference to the grocery store.
Yeah, that was in the count. That was in the 24 count.
So then do these count in the food desert discussion?
No, those are not full service grocery store. That's a nice question. That's a big distinction. So a full service grocery store is one that has a produce section, deli, meat department, things of that nature. Like they actually give you all of florist. Those are all part of being a full service grocery store. So Aldi and Save-A-Lot are not. They're grocery stores, but they're not full service grocery stores.
That makes sense. I've never thought about it like that.
Yep. Yeah, the notion is supposed to be that, if you have a full service grocery store, you have people dedicated to picking out the produce and making sure that it's high quality. So Schnucks can call itself that because it does that at its stores that are not in North County. So
Sure.
And if anyone on here is from Schnucks and wants to talk to me further about how you guys can be better neighbors, feel free to contact me.
Yes, that contact info was on that last slide. Other questions from anyone? While we'll let people mull that over for a little bit, I just wanted to thank our sponsors again, St. Louis Jefferson County Solid Waste Management District and the Missouri Department of Natural Resources. I also wanted to say that I wanted to apologize to you, Eric. I realized I did not actually introduce you as the founder and executive director of Red Circle.
Oh, yeah, so I am.
And again,
I didn't even think about that. Sorry about that.
No, you don't need to apologize. That was my end. So Erica is the founder and executive director of Red Circle, and we really, really appreciate you being here. So excited to have this partnership. I also wondered if you wanted to talk about the garden workday that is happening.
Oh yeah, fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we have a big workday at our urban farm in Pine Lawn, April 10th. We're working with Land Custom Foodscaping. They're helping. So they actually built out the herb gardens and they planted the fruit trees and did all that cool stuff for us last year. In April, the plan was to have a big grand opening and all kinds of cool, stuff, but because of COVID, that didn't happen. So this year we're kind of doing like a part 2 of the build out. So we'll be building out the garden beds. There'll be like rows for planting. We had the land graded last year. So we'll be bringing up some new soil and some compost and planting potatoes and hopefully some flowers. I've got some flower seedlings started now, so we'll see how that goes. I'm also planning on getting some more native plants from a local nursery. once I can get over the cold and get my brain wrapped around, you know, getting outside. But that is the plan. So it's April 10th. It's a Saturday, beginning at 9 a.m. until we have some tools there in place, and I believe Earth Day 365 is going to bring some tools, but you know, we're still working out the details. So if anyone wants to sign up for that, if you go to our website, aredcircle.org, and I think if you click on programming and healthy food access, there is a link to register. So that way we know who's on coming and all that kind of stuff.
I also just put that link in the chat for the Zoom people.
Oh, thank you.
Sign up volunteer link. Yeah. It looks like we had one more question, 2 questions. One, can you use extra shovels, etc. for that day?
Absolutely.
From Kit Jenkins.
Appreciate that.
Yes, maybe you can, Kit, email that info email and get that set up. And then Tiffany Brewer, would you be interested in having an additional community work day in partnership with Earth Dance Organic Farm School in May? We're looking to support a Red Circle and move the good food movement forward in North County.
Move it forward. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's so much work to be done at the urban farm and at the community garden. The current plan for the community garden is to build our greenhouse March 13th. So I can move my seedlings from inside under the grow lights into the greenhouse. But I'm waiting to see what happens with this cold because it's not the normal cold. So
No.
I have a feeling it's still going to be a little bit too cold middle of March, but we'll see. But in May, yes, definitely. We're currently having a greenhouse built, a bigger greenhouse structure built at the urban farm and some other stuff. So yeah, definitely. Thank you, Tiffany.
Great. Got some claps from Tiffany. If there is not anything else, I can wrap it up with next month. We'll have our next installation of the HomeGrown series, which will feature the Indigo Garden Project on Thursday, March 18th from 6 to 7 with Eugenia Alexander. You can register for this meeting. I will put the link in the chat as well. And then on a little bit before that, on March 11th at 4 p.m., our Beyond the Blue Bin series will feature e-waste recycling with Greg Cooksey of Midwest Recycle Center and Household Hazardous Waste with Sarah Stable of St. Louis County Department of Health. Here is the first link. And I don't think we have a Zoom set up for the second one yet, but thank you so much, Erica, for being here. Very much appreciate your presentation.
Thank you for having me. I see some people I know. Yeah. So thank you guys, Carolyn and Becky.
Looks like we've got some thank yous, wonderful work and hosting. Hello, Carolyn. And then I also just wanted to say that if you want a refresher on today's session, Good Food Movement, Improving Our Food System from Within, you can go to our virtual programs page at the top of our website, which is earthday-365.org, and click on Good Food Movement. You can also check out the rest of our virtual programs there. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and we'll see you next month. Thanks, Erica.
You're welcome. Everyone take care.
Stay warm.